Hi, it's Elissa at Moat Cottage, and today we're talking about Project Pantry. I've decided to get involved with the collaboration video hashtag Project Pantry thanks to Heather over at the Needy Homesteader channel on YouTube. Go check out her channel. So Project Pantry is setting goals for building up your pantry, your extended pantry, and over at Instagram we're posting photos using the hashtag Project Pantry, and we're taking photos of the progress that we're making, so you can take photos of what you've got in your pantry now and the photos that you take as you bring stuff into your extended pantry as you build it up. So if you have a YouTube channel, you can make a YouTube video and show us the tour of your pantry and what you've got now when you're starting, whether you're a new and you don't even have a pantry and you just want to start and join us, or if you have the dream pantry that everyone will love and you've got some tips and tricks to teach us, we would love to see that as well. So if you decide to make a video and join this collaboration, leave your information below so we can all check out your videos. There are a few reasons that I have an extended pantry. The first one is that I live with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, so I don't get to go to the big shops very often. Our nearest big shops are over 45 kilometres away, and I probably get to do a big shop probably 3 times a year. The rest of the time I just send an email to my local small town supermarket, and they're not actually online, so I don't know the prices of things when I'm buying them. I basically just buy what I really need each week and they deliver it, which is really fantastic because I just don't have the energy to spend going to the supermarket. That being said, that's a lot more expensive and I don't know how much I'm going to be paying for things. That's just the way it is. So when I do go to do the big shops, I like to buy what I can bulk and put it in my extended pantry. The second reason I have an extended pantry is probably similar reasons to a lot of you all out there, and that is emergencies. Things like power outages, fires and floods are some of the things that have affected us while we've been living here, and it's really nice when these events happen that I don't have to race down to the shops, especially if I'm having a relapse and I'm not doing so well. I can't just be jumping out of bed and going to the supermarket because I just physically can't do that. So being prepared, these events happen and we can still eat without too much fuss, and we're pretty right. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I also have a vegetable garden and we grow our own meat that we process ourselves. So we're not reliant on the supermarkets for that. And even last year, our water supply was cut for 12 hours, which really concerned me greatly. Really didn't seem to affect anybody else. People weren't really worried about it. Over in Facebook, in our community group for our town, people weren't jumping up and down like they do about other small trivial things. So I was quite interested in that. We have 3 water tanks here, and that's great for the animals, but we can't drink that water because our roof is actually aluminium and it's not ideal. So it's good for the baths for the ducks, it's good for the plants, but we're not drinking that. So we do have backup water supply, not huge amounts for proper standards, but we do have bottled water for emergencies. So let's start the tour. Okay, so we're starting in the pantry that we work from. It's a little bit chaotic because it's the pantry we're working from. So up the top we have the spices, salts and yeasts, apple cider vinegars and vanilla essence brewing. The middle shelf we have got cereals, honey, a lot of honey, cordial silver. We have brewing some honey with garlic ready for the winter when that hits. We've also got some in our medicinal cupboard that we're working on still from last year. The next cupboard is some tins that we use and spreads and bread. Quite often I make my own bread, but we have people in the house that like bought bread as well. So we do a bit of both, depending on what happens. I generally don't buy things like pre-mixed satay and butter chickens. However, they're there for emergencies too, just in case someone feels like it. And I'm not making it from scratch because I prefer to make everything from scratch if I can, if I'm well enough to. This next cupboard has backups of what we're using, but this is not my extended pantry. So we have spent sugar and flours and beans. We've got tissues, onions and potatoes in there, as well as cling wrap and foil, pastas, rice, and down lower we've got some oils, and we have backups. We have quite a lot of white vinegar because I use a lot of vinegar for in the washing machine as well as cleaning, in my canner when I'm canning, and I've got more in the backup pantry too. So we have flours here, this is where we're functioning, and then down the bottom we have the tins that we're using the most of, and soy milk because I use soy milk, and so we have a fair bit of that. We have apricots, we have pie apricots, we have kidney beans, chickpeas, baked beans, coconut milk, coconut cream and peas. This is the food we work from that's not in the pantry, so we've got things like rices, peas, beans, soup mixes, lentils, and then we have diatomaceous earth, reishi mushroom, sunflower, flaxseed, chia seeds, flours, falafel mix, popcorn macaroni, citric acid, because when you're canning you need citric acid for some things, salts, sea salts, that's for preserving and fermenting, and then milk powder for making bread, coconut, cacao, cocoa, apricots, raisins, sultanas, more for baking. And then down the bottom here we have sugars and coffee. You've got to have coffee, although the main coffee we work from is actually in the fridge, but you've got to have your backup coffee. And then down the bottom, way down the bottom, we have canned goods, and I have bone broth, which is duck bone broth from our own ducks. We have some tomatoes, and right down the bottom is more duck meat in duck bone broth. Up the top we have tea and herbs from the garden that are dehydrated for making salves. Over in this section here we have canned goods. So we have more tomatoes, we have jams, we have fruit compotes for breakfast in winter, which is absolutely awesome. We have vegetables, so it's mixed vegetables. So one person can come along and say, I feel like vegetables, they just pop a lid, warm it up, and they've got a bowl of vegetables, instead of opening up big jars and making one family meal, because we all seem to eat at separate times here. There's 3 people who are on different schedules. So here we have some fruit. We have peaches, nectarines, raspberries and rhubarb. So they're good for pies. Down below we have soups. It's in bone broth. It's lamb bone broth this time, and we've got lamb, sweet potatoes, corn and spinach and onion in those ones. And then there's some more tomato with herbs and garlic canned up. Some dehydrated kale and limes from the garden, and dehydrated chilies. I dehydrated those in my car, so I'll have to make a video about that. I do have a dehydrator, but it worked fantastically. I'm just waiting for some more to ripen up, so I'll make that video for you too. Up in this corner I've made this frame, and this is where I put all my garlic to dry out a bit, and I also hang lavender flowers to dry. But I've heaps of garlic. Some of this will be planted out. There's also onion up there. This will be planted out, some of it, and some will be eaten. Now we've made our way into the laundry, and down there we have a heap of toilet rolls spare. And in this big cupboard here, we might have to undo this a little bit so we can have a look in here. But I have my big buckets of oats, sugar, rice, plain flour, pasta and legumes. I also have more white vinegar, and bottled water is
right up in there as well. Let me undo it a little bit.
Alright, so we have a tub of salts, because you always need salts if you need to preserve things. If you need to preserve meat, I've got toiletries, so Band-Aids, Panadols, feminine hygiene products, and toothbrushes and toothpaste. And then we have some gloves, plastic bin bags, heaps of peanut butter, which I'd like more peanut butter. I've only actually got 3 there at the moment. We've got some Vegemite, good old Australian product, although it's not owned by Australia anymore, and some raspberry jam, apricots in juice, coconut milk, coconut cream, diced tomatoes, if you can see down there, it's pretty dark, apricot nectar, some pasta sauces, tomato paste, pink salmon, yeast, coconut oil, sardines, more soy milk, and up the back is some cereals that I bought for my daughter for camping for a treat. We don't actually eat them, but they're there. And in here I also keep a moisture absorber, because this cupboard is in the shower room. Now the moisture absorber actually lasts about 3 months. It's not too bad in here, considering it has a shower in it that we use. So it's also quite a good temperature most of the time. The rest of the house gets really hot. We don't have air conditioning. However, this cupboard is probably the best space that there is for the backup pantry, although I would love a bigger one, of course. But there is space in there at the moment because we are due to do a big shop. We haven't done one in quite a while, and we are definitely due for that. Up the top here I have more toilet rolls, and in that box I have light globes. We also have candles, and we have quite a few tubs of washing detergent. In saying that, we also have dry detergent too, that doesn't get used very often, but it's there if we need it. Now, these food grade tubs I got from the bakery. I got them for free. I just went in and asked, and they gave them to me, so I just washed them up, labelled them, and popped my food in there. This is a working pantry, so what happens is when I buy food, it comes into here, but the food in here moves into the kitchen area and goes into those containers. So everything is on a cycle so that we're keeping the food fresh and moving. Now, I know this isn't actually a pantry, it's my freezer. However, this stuff will end up being canned, some of it, and it is part of what we eat. So I have zucchini from the garden grated up and frozen in these bags so that you can make a meal out of those. I have backup butter and more raspberries in bags, because I don't grow raspberries here, unfortunately. And we have a whole lamb. I also, underneath these lambs, I also have soups and casseroles that I can't can, ones that won't can up because of what's in them. So we have a lot of duck down there as well, from all the ducks we've processed. So that's all our ducks. That is also, I would class part of my pantry. It's food that we've got to eat, and that meat in there will last us over 12 months because we're not huge meat eaters. This I also consider part of my pantry, and that is all my seeds, because this can turn into food. So I have it all filed in alphabetical order. This is all my vegetables here. Then on the side here I have herbs and then flowers, because you need to attract your pollinators to your garden. So like I said, I don't have all my eggs in one basket. And talking of eggs, here are the eggs that we're working on at the moment. I also have some in the fridge. This is my big tub of eggs. When my chickens and ducks are laying, I have excess, and so I pop it into this solution of builder's lime and water, and these eggs will last up to 12 months in there, no problem. So when they stop laying or when they go broody, and I'm not laying me any eggs because they're sitting on nests for babies, we will still have plenty of eggs and I don't have to buy them. That's what we do here at Moat Cottage, and I hope you've liked the tour. And I really am looking forward to increasing what I have in my pantry, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have in your pantries too. Thanks for watching.
Click subscribe to follow our journey and follow us on Instagram at Moat Cottage.